welcome to Mass Integration. Welcome back for those of you that took an opportunity last time to watch the videos and comment. Thank you so much for that. I really enjoyed reading your comments and seeing that you feel me with this information, which, you know, there's a lot of intelligent people that watch these videos and will watch these videos. And I think what my role is with Mass Integration is just to bring it all together, just to put it up front, and then we're able to just take a look at it for what it is, right? Because there's a lot of things that go without deeper thought in the Black community, and it's really something that we need to just pause and really try to understand. So thank you so much. Please share, subscribe if you haven't. We're going to focus on the process of the narcissistic attack. A narcissist or someone with narcissistic personality disorder, they seek out targets. Someone who, I could say codependent, but you know, that really tends to come out in relationships when the dynamics are a certain way, but they can be codependent as well. And people that are highly sensitive, people, you know, like if you're like me, I'm a highly sensitive person and I can't watch violence. It just makes me cringe, or I don't know, it does something to my soul. I have a tolerance level of it, I would say. Some things I can watch, but other things I'm like, that's just too gruesome. I can't do it because I'm highly sensitive. So these are the individuals that they target for many reasons. But the reason that we're going to focus on today, or the first phase of this narcissistic approach or attack, is called love bombing. Now, if you've gone out into the YouTube community and you're pretty educated on what narcissism is and what they do, then you are probably familiar with this phase. It's called love bombing because that's exactly what happens. And it's so opposite of who they really are. So, you know, love bombing is something that is truly narcissistic. It's a manipulative matter, which I'm going to go into here. But I think the key is that it's so opposite of what they intend to do. So it's the intent behind it and it's who they are, because you can meet a very wonderful person who just loves to shower you with gifts. So this is not love showering, right? This is love bombing. I mean, it's meant to blow you up, okay? It's meant to blow you up. So what is love bombing? It's an overwhelming, it's overwhelming someone with signs of adoration and attraction. Okay, so it is speaking like life into you. What a narcissist will do is they study you, right? And then they figure out like some of the traumas that you've gone through, some of the issues, maybe insecurities that you have. Sometimes they'll even fake talk about their own insecurities, right? Like their own body image. It may not be true, but they'll bring it up just to see if you'll imitate them, just to see if now that you feel that this is a safe environment to talk about your insecurities, right? It's so manipulative. It is so manipulative. You feel that someone's interested in you and they know your insecurities, and this goes hand in hand with love bombing because they know what to say to you, right? Love bombing can be more than what they just say to you. It could be about what they say about your future. It could be physical gifts. It's just a lot of positive things, but it's over positive. It's like too much of it, right? And we know that God is about balance. Life is about balance. Sun, moon, night, day, everything is about balance. So when someone is out of balance like that, it should be a red flag. But what we're going to talk about is why, in many cases, it's not a red flag. It's because of history. It's because of what we've gone through, who we are, especially as Black women. This can apply to Black men as well. But this one is really going to be centered around the Black woman per se, because the point of this video is really to talk about it from like what's going on in the dynamics of our relationships. So with love bombing comes flattery. And this is a word. If you're watching this, or you know someone who has been a victim of narcissistic abuse, this word flattery, if we understand it, if we understand how it's used, then it's something that we will actually look for. right? When our soul is telling us this is not right, this person is lying, we will believe it because now we understand that there is a certain thing as flattery. We don't use that word a lot anymore. There was a time where we would say, oh, I'm so flattered, but we really, that word for some reason has seemed to go out of existence. I don't hear flattery anymore, but it is something you need to keep in mind, whether you're dealing with a narcissist, who in many ways is a pimp. When you know that this is flattery, there will be a signal that goes off. Now, I've interacted with several narcissists in my life. When the love bombing stage is over, you almost think that this is who the person is. But then there comes a point when you realize this is not who you were. It would be a lack of what they say or what they're saying, and you're just looking at them puzzled, like, what? Or you're asking questions to try to be like, is this the same guy? Is this the same person? And in two different relationships, I literally have had them say to me, you're just mad because I'm not saying what you want to hear. And the first time I was like, do I want to hear something? What are they talking about? What do I want to hear? I didn't even know I wanted to hear something. But then in the second relationship, I asked the question, are you telling me that it is your norm to tell me what I want to hear? So does that mean that when I'm happy, you believe I'm happy because you're telling me what I want to hear? And he paused and he looked at me and he said, nah. But deep down inside, I knew, wow, I have another narcissist. Like, this is really what's going on. They're setting you up to become addicted to the things that they are saying to you. So I use the word addicted because that's exactly what it is. It's addicted. A lot of times they know that they're dealing with individuals who have had a rough childhood, especially if they've interviewed you or they've gotten information. If they've just sat silent when you're talking on the phone or you're talking to them, they're just silent. Narcissistic people are not engaging in conversation and talking about themselves. They're usually just silent. It's funny because when I first came across this, I was like, oh my God, you're such a good listener. And he could repeat right back to me everything I said, even later. This is all during the love bombing stage, so it's all good, right? And it's because they're taking intel. They are listening, absolutely, but it's the intent that is different. So when they listen, they understand your hurts. They understand that you've been traumatized, and they are right there to tell you what you want to hear, what they know you want to hear. For example, if I say to a narcissist, yeah, my dad never told me he loves me. I've never really heard that from a male, and I've seen to just have these relationships that, I attract the same kind of guy. And I just really want a guy that's like romantic, somebody that tells me they love me and and it's like, it's just been so hard for me. But I understand that it comes from my dad. And you think, okay, he's trying to understand me. When you're an honest person, you're really just talking about your history. You're talking about what you've gone through in hopes that you can connect to this person so that you can build together with an awareness of what each other has gone through. And it's really just that simple. But what the narcissist is doing is saying, in the back of their mind, I'm going to tell her I love her in about 50 different ways. If she looks in the mirror and she's looking at a certain body part, maybe I'm going to study her face, her reaction, and I'm going to lay it on her about how great that body part is. But it's not to help you heal, because it's very manipulative, right? So I can go into this even more, but I really think there's a lot of information on YouTube about love bombing that really applies to the whole narcissistic dance itself, if you want to learn more information about it. But what I want to focus on is why this is so messed up and so intense when it comes to the Black community. And I want to start and really focus on the Black woman, okay? Who, because what we're talking about in this series very heavily is generational trauma. And when we think about the Black woman, we know that even in today's world, a lot of times we're at the bottom of the totem pole. We are the most disrespected group of people, right? But just what I want to bring to your attention is just the time frame of slavery. And I know that America wants to get rid of that, get away from it, but I can't. I'm not going to. Mass immigration is not going to do that, because there are repercussions to trauma. And that is where we are. So you can make us American, right? You can bring us up as Black Americans, right? But which is a term that I absolutely do not use, but I'm using it in this context because it's fitting. But you can bring us up as Black Americans and try to make us assimilate, but I'm sorry, you can't take the slavery out of the Black person, out of the African American. You just can't. So everything in psychology that you bring toward us, we're going to process it differently. It has to be harder. And until we understand that gap, we will never truly heal. We will only get surface level. We will not, it will be harder for us to heal than our fellow non-Black trauma survivors. So here we are in slavery. You have the Black woman. Now, if you know Black women and you love Black women, you know that the Black woman is strong in the sense of she is resilient and will do what needs to be done to take care of her children, her family. She will do whatever she needs to do. And that's where that strength comes from, that label of strength. Now, it's been misconstrued as time has gone on, but we're just talking about the Black woman in general, the original Black woman, right? That is in each and every one of us, regardless of what America has transformed it into. So put her in slavery, okay? You have a white slave master that is attracted to her body. I mean, we all know why. Black women are beautiful. But you have a slave master that's attracted to her body and asking her to do sexual things, right? Now, usually, if she's not in agreement with that, then there can be consequences, right? Children can be taken away, she can be beaten, her husband could be, always consequences to teach a lesson, right? To get you into submission to the idea that I'm gonna violate your body when I want to. But what is going on with all of the people around her? What are they thinking? What are they saying? We already know we have the white slave master that loves and hates her, despises her, but at the same time wants her for his insatiable needs, right? So the white woman is looking at this Black woman, jealous. Why is she jealous? Well, you have this slave over here, a slave in raggedy clothes, hair not combed, right? Not getting the luxuries and the benefit of everything that the white women get with these big hats, you know, a Southern belle, looking beautiful in the hot summer sun. And you have this slave that's coming in here taking your man, that your man is attracted to, even under all of the stress and the trauma that this slave is going through, your man still wants her. Still wants her. Now let's think about this. Slaves are property. Slaves were property. All you needed them for was property. So you could have absolutely had a relationship as a white slave master with your wife and just help own the slaves, just have property and built money and, you know, built a life. There was nothing that said that you had to rape those Black women. There was no one forcing you to do that. This was an extracurricular activity. So the white woman is jealous of this Black woman now. Then the Black woman has to go home to her husband, to her man. Who knows that she was just in there with the white dude, right? With the white master who's beating his butt every day, demasculinizing him. And now subconsciously, he begins to devalue you, right? He begins to perhaps look at you as a whore, as a prostitute. Even if he didn't want to, how can you be married to a woman that is constantly going to sleep with another man and not develop any kind of feelings? Not even look at her a little bit differently. I'm sorry, even the people with the best intentions. I tend to think I'm a pretty decent person. But if I have a husband that is being forced to go out all the time and deal with these women, I'm going to start feeling a certain kind of way. And there's a certain kind of spirit that come up in your household when those things are happening, because it's spiritually detrimental. The soul is attacked, right? And those issues. So think about the Black woman who's being violated by the master, right? Hated on by the wife, the white women, and then devalued by her own man, even if he treated her well. Subconsciously, that is a tough thing to deal with. To listen to a man that is having his way with your woman every night and beating you. Okay, you could probably want revenge, meaning maybe you want to sleep with his wife, do the same thing to him, right? These are subconscious neural pathways that are being developed. All of these things that are being developed that will pass on to generations. Why? Not because there were unhealthy Black relationships, despite the craziness that slavery brought, but they tended to love each other. But it was these dynamics that caused you to question who you were and the God you served. Because these white people were doing terrible things and breaking you down in every single way. Now, do we have therapy for Black men that had to let their wives and their women be used by their masters, by the slave masters? Do we have any type of therapeutic program in America that makes it necessary to understand the repercussions of that? No. Do we have anything in place for Black women that have been put in this situation? And it's crazy because they're still in it. They're still in it. See, the Black woman has not recovered from this like all other races do. Even if she's a good mother, it's not going to, she can be a good mother, educated, whatever. It's still, these dynamics still exist. The white woman is still jealous in many ways. And we see that by the standards of beauty that are Europeanized, but covered in African beauty. It's a Europeanization, if that's a word, of African beauty. And then we have the white man who still sexualizes Black women in many ways, not necessarily wanting to marry her or be with her, but still finding her very attractive. And then we have Black men who are still treating Black women as prostitutes. Now, this isn't to call out anyone. This, you could even label my humble opinion, but I just want you to take a real, true assessment of the way things are today. These dynamics exist today in the world. So when you talk about a Black woman that's in the dating world today, with all of this trauma in her bones, in her system, and the Black man that's seeking a Black woman and all the trauma in his bones, all of the things that this man has had to deal with, the Black man and the Black woman are resilient AF. But there are things that are running. There's an underlying program that is running. And a lot of times when a Black woman is in this situation, she's going to lose that self-esteem. She's going to try to be everything that everybody wants her to be. And the Black man is going to do everything that will masculinize him and prevent him from having to go through any kind of embarrassment, any feelings of low self-esteem, any of that. He's going to run things now. And the Black woman is just trying to prove and find someone that will cherish her. Cherish, cherish, cherish. That is the word that's rarely associated with Black women. Cherished. Is it a coincidence that 1 out of 4 Black women are married in today's world? Because there are a few that loves and cherishes her, because she hasn't been cherished by anyone in her history. She's done the cherishing, right? She's done all of the burden and trying to pull things together, but she has not been cherished. And that is where the breakdown is found. So now we're back in 2021 and flattery is going crazy from narcissists, coming at someone that is broken down, right? Someone that is broken down. There was a philosopher who said, flattery raises downcast spirits, comforts the sad, raises the apathetic, restrains the headstrong, brings lovers together and keeps them united. Flattery. Why? Because it's about manipulation. It's about taking people's very real problems and issues and traumas and manipulating them to serve you. To serve you. It's about getting what you need, right? Everybody wants to be loved, but trust and believe that nobody wants to be loved more than the Black community, more than African-American men, and definitely more than African-American women. We are so behind in love. It is crazy. And so it becomes our standard of what we truly want in life. Now, there's something else called the hippocampus, where we store our highly charged emotional memories, right? Both positive and negative. The hippocampus is in the brain. Trauma or abuse, the emotional component is stored in the limbic system of the brain, right? So our brain stores emotion. Think about that. Our brain, which is usually a thinking organ, stores emotions, and it actually has an emotional tone in our mind that's created by the limbic system. And when you have trauma, it traumatizes the limbic system. So now you have stored trauma mentally, okay? And then you get emotional tags. What are emotional tags? Well, we know what hashtags are today, right? You make a statement, hashtag yes, hashtag Black Lives Matter, whatever it is. The hashtag is what this is really about. It's these emotional tones that are being created in our minds due to trauma that was not created by us. The limbic system structure also is intimately involved with bonding and social connectedness. So positive bonds equal positive feelings. Now, it's interesting because the female limbic system is bigger than the male's attachment. So if the limbic system stores emotions and the female has a larger limbic system, that means that if you have a male narcissistic person coming at you as a woman that is highly empathic, codependent, or highly sensitive, your limbic system is bigger. So your connection and your rootedness into this person is going to be deeper, which unfortunately means you're going to suffer more when the breakup happens. But in the beginning with this love bombing, you are an open field, ready to be cultivated. You're just taking. This love bombing is like growing a forest in your brain, not like a little garden. It's growing a forest like the Amazon, because you're so traumatized. And then here's someone using flattery to manipulate. And what's happening is that these compliments, it says activate the reward center of the brain. It's called the ventral striatum and the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, which the prefrontal cortex isn't even developed fully until you're 25. So if you're under 25 and this is going on, look, it's mental. It is the actual brain organ that's being affected by this. But compliments can even release, it can have the same feeling as being given cash. Now, we know how we feel when you're given, let's say somebody gives you $1 million. Well, okay, maybe not 1 million. Let's just say 10,000. Your brain is going to be like, baby, you're just happy. Oh my God. That they're saying can be equivalent to compliments sometimes. So you can have a broke narcissist that's paying you out. Praise releases serotonin in the brain, making you feel proud and confident. Serotonin is a pride drug. It boosts oxytocin levels, increases performance levels, and commitment levels. Do you see why it's used as why flattery or compliments is used as manipulation in a narcissistic relationship? And if you have been traumatized, which we have as a people, especially Black women and Black men, but a lot of times Black men trauma comes out in the form of narcissism, which is another video. But if you have gone through this, then you are a target, not just any target for someone with NPD. You are a deeper target. You have your brain that is bigger because you're female. You have all of these traumas from maybe your immediate family. Maybe your father was narcissistic, maybe you're something, siblings. But then on top of that, you have to understand your generational trauma that's showing up again. All of these things make you vulnerable to wanting them to stop. When you're put down so much as a people and someone comes along with only good things to say about you, you're like generations overdue. You're generations overdue. So what we're going to focus on in mass integration is how do you build self-esteem that goes beyond the surface level? How do you build self-esteem in your culture, in the core of your being? How do you release generational trauma so that you're not a target for narcissistic abuse? And we're going to talk about narcissists in a different video. And I know that many experts say narcissism can't be healed, but the Bible says that with God, all things are possible. So we're going to pray for them, right? We're going to pray for them and pray for more methods that could actually hopefully reach them. I do understand it's a spiritual warfare, which makes it, in my mind, even more primed for God to do the impossible. But I wanted to make this video because I think it's important to understand that if you've been through MPD, if you've dealt with someone with that, right, I want you to understand that you really need to be easy on yourself. You need to take this time to love and heal and grieve. And when I say grieve, you grieve your ancestors and what they had to go through. Grieve the process that they had to go through to break them down, to deconstruct that family tight unit mentally. And then the dynamics that it created, understand them so that you combat them. Understand where you fit in this culture, in American culture, so that when we talk about self-esteem, you understand what that truly means. It's not looking in the mirror saying I'm beautiful only. It's beyond that. It's pulling out and understanding what your ancestors went through and forgiving the people that put them through that. Because only then can you forgive your own ancestors for setting you up in the sense, when it wasn't even their fault, but they definitely passed it down because they had to survive. But family, this is a time where we're going beyond survival. We're going to live. We're going to be happy. And we're going to become the best version of ourselves as a people, not meaning just financially, though we need to do that, and that's another discussion. But before we can even get to that point, we have to heal and come together. And when we understand what was actually happened to us to pull us apart from each other so that we don't even get the support emotionally, so that we're giving up on each other and not even building families anymore with each other, and that we're trying to survive and cope by maybe dating outside the race or doing other things that will hopefully just get rid of that pain that is inside of us, because that's really what it's about, is this pain that exists. But once we understand and get to the core of that pain, we can truly date, marry, live our lives understanding the whole picture and being truly healed beyond the American psychology is giving us today. So we're going to do that. I hope you stick around. More videos will come out. We're going to get deeper into this subject, deeper into some of the things that subconsciously exist in us as a people. And we're going to pull it out. We're going to pull out the weeds, and we're going to plant something healthy and nice. Healthy hearts, healthy hearts. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, share. I'm sending each and every one of you so much love. Until next time.